Hi, how are you doing today? Today I wanted to talk to you about puppy resuscitation. Last night on January 9th, Abby went into labor and she was having a little bit of difficulty after she had the first puppy. And I called the vet because I was getting a little worried about the second one that was coming, but it finally made it and everything was fine with that puppy. And then around 6 o'clock, another one came, and it was fine, no problem. And then around 7:30, 8 o'clock, I kept checking on her pretty diligently because she just looked like she was having a hard time. And she's a Parson Russell's, and they usually don't have too much trouble having puppies. So I was very concerned. And I went and checked on her around 8 o'clock. And oh my goodness, there was a puppy hanging out of her. She was standing up, walking around, or twirling around in her nesting area, and I just didn't know what was going on exactly. But I seen this puppy hanging from her, and he didn't look like he was breathing. But she finally sat down. I got her to sit down, and she was able to get the umbilical cord undone. And as soon as he dropped, I picked him up, which, she already had him cleaned off, so it wasn't like he didn't have any oxygen to him, but I mean, he was just hanging upside down. So I grabbed him, got him out, and our vet has always told me that if they're, when they're born and they're having trouble, clean them up, rub them up really rough with a Kleenex. So I got Kleenexes, or, you could use paper towels, I guess, but I was just rubbing that puppy, trying to clean it, get it dry, just rub, 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 rub. And I finally noticed a little bit of breath, like he was like that, taking a breath. And so I kept rubbing him, and he was really dark on the bottom as far as the coloring, and I think that was just from being born. But he still wasn't breathing properly, so I just kept rubbing him because they just said sometimes you can work with them for 30 minutes, which I don't think I ever really believed that. But last night I kept working with this puppy, and I finally decided that I would try like the nasal thing to get the nasal passage clear. So I did two things. I got one of those little syringe things that you can suck, stuff out of their nose with, and I used that. But I also put the puppy in my hands, and I held on to him tight, and I did a downward swing a couple of times, and a bunch of fluid flew out of him. So he was trying to breathe, but he had blockage, and he was like being oxygen deprived. And I did that a few times, and he got a little bit better of trying to breathe. And then I could notice that he was actually alive, and I listened to put his little chest up to my ear, and he was having a heartbeat, but it was very, very slow. So I continued to clean and try to suck and do this with that suction tube thing, and then the bulb, I guess they call it. And then I slung him a couple more times, gently but firmly and with a good hold, and got more fluid out. And he still wasn't quite moving. He wasn't really moving at all. He was just trying to breathe. So my last resort was a couple of things. One thing, you can kind of, drop them from about this high up, like just drop them, let them hit the floor, and it kind of like puts them in shock. I guess it's kind of like giving them shock treatment without electroshock. And so I tried that, and it seemed like he cried a little, and started making a little bit more noises, but he still was having a hard time breathing. So I did more of the, trying to get the stuff out of his nose and mouth. And all of a sudden, I just decided I'm going to have to do mouth to mouth. So I got my mouth up to that little puppy's nozzle and mouth, and I blew air, breath into him, and he started crying. First time he really cried out loud. And then I kept working him, rubbing him with the Kleenexes and everything, and keeping him kind of warm in a little towel. And he still wasn't moving hardly. So that was just not right. So I decided to give him another breath of air. And I did it again. And he cried even more. And then we kept working with him, or I kept working with him and working with him. And I gave him another breath. And then he just really started crying. He wouldn't quit. And I thought, oh my goodness, he's coming back. I couldn't believe it because it'd been about 30 minutes. And you can hear some of my dogs in there right now. But, anyways, we resuscitated him. And he started crying and crying. And I got him cleaned up a good 30 minutes. And I gave him back to his mother. And I wasn't sure if he was going to make it or not. But he did. So the point of this video is to let you know that there is a such thing as resuscitating a puppy when you don't think that they're really going to be able to resuscitate. And that puppy cried and cried and cried. I guess he was letting us know that he was alive, and the mama worked with him. Of course, I'd worked with him. So, this it's just amazing. And, I thank the Lord that it was able to, I was able to be able to resuscitate him. And right now, I woke up the next day, January 10th. Man, I want to be in July. I guess I hate snow. It's snowing today. But anyway, he was alive and well, and he's eating as far as I know. I don't know if he'll make it or not because he could have been oxygen deprived, and I guess we won't know that for a few days. But I just wanted to document that I never would have dreamed that he would have been coming back. And I did all the things that the vet have told me to do, and not thinking it's going to work, but I didn't have any other choice. I had to do what I knew I'd been told to do, and that it can work, and it did. So that's my message today. Puppy resuscitation. Abby had 5 in her litter, 4 boys and 1 girl. The one that was born that had the problem was the 4th one. He was a male, and he's doing fine. And she had the first 4 were males, and the last one was a little girl, and she's all white. And so, they're all doing good at this point, and we just pray that they continue. And that's it for today, and thank you for watching. If you like what you've heard about today, just hit subscribe, ring the little bell, and if you have any questions or anything, let me know. I'll get back with you. Thank you, and have a blessed day.